In terms of some housekeeping items, this is a 1-hour session. We will record this and there will be a live Q&A at the end of this session. If you have any questions, please add that in the chat box to the organizers, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible. There might be a little bit of a delay per slide, just due to the fact that this is an online meeting. We will aim to correct this when we put the video online. All right, let's go to a quick round of introductions. Starting on my end, I'll be the host for today's session. For those who don't know me, I actually worked at Mendix and set up the North American office for Mendix back in 2008. Worked there for 11 years, a lot of experience with go-to-market solutions and from a customer perspective. And after the Siemens acquisition, joined TimeSeries to apply ideas I've built up and to really bring that to the market with a very talented team of Mendix developers. Joining us today is guest speaker Jeff Spencer, who is Mendix ambassador within Siemens. Good morning, Jeff. How are you? And would you mind doing a quick introduction on your end?
Oh, thanks, Vince. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Jeff Spencer. So really focused here on the Mendix side within the Americas primarily, but help collaborate with a lot of our workmates all over the globe. A lot of background in PLM across all our industries, and now really trying to help our customers understand how they can take rapid application development to the next level, extend their portfolios, and also work within other areas of the business utilizing Mendix.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Joining us today as well is Matt, who is the CEO of TimeSeries North America. Matt, we want to do a quick introduction on your end?
Sure thing, Vince. Good day to everyone. Very exciting to have such a full house of attendees here. Yeah, certainly excited to see that you guys are all interested in TimeSeries Mendix and how that expertise can support the ecosystems within each of your areas. So as CEO of TimeSeries North America, I joined the Dutch founders of TimeSeries back in about late 2016 to really extend and grow expert Mendix service space to the U.S. marketplace. Prior to joining TimeSeries, I was a co-founder in a big data startup and have a background in management consulting, obviously big data and analytics, and even some hydrogeology in there, yes, science. So again, thanks to everyone for taking some time out of your day to join us here.
Yeah, great. And last but not least, Yetro, thanks for joining us as CTO at TimeSeries. A quick introduction on your end as well.
Hey, thanks, Vince. Yeah, my name is Yetro Bortje. I'm a global CTO of TimeSeries. I'm with the company now for about 5 years. Back in the day when we were still with 6 people, which has changed tremendously over the last few years. It's been quite a ride. I have a background in both IT as well as economics. So my role in the company is mostly making sure we use the right technologies for the right jobs and make our customers happy. And myself, from a technical perspective, have a background in big data, IoT, analytics, those kinds of things.
Great. Thank you for making the time available and joining us today. So let's briefly go over the topics of what we will discuss in this 1-hour session. Matt, you will talk a little bit about TimeSeries, what we've accomplished so far. Obviously, TimeSeries is a partner, the leading partner for Mendix, and now also a direct partner with Siemens, both on the solutions as well as the services side, which means that other partners, as well as Siemens resources and team members, as well as end customers of Siemens, can actually utilize our experience with Mendix, which opens a lot of opportunities. Of course, not everybody on this webinar is familiar with Mendix, so we will absolutely make sure, and Jeff will lead that part, to take a step back and explain what Mendix is, what is the opportunity, and how does it actually relate to solutions like MindSphere, Teamcenter, that the majority of this session today is already familiar with. We will also walk through the smart app suites and the templates, which is an initiative by TimeSeries to make it easier for companies to start with Mendix low code. So we'll make sure that these apps and these templates, that we will go over these in more detail. And then we will have an actual demo. One is a custom inspection app, and one live app around predictive maintenance. Last but not least, what do we offer? Concretely, what can we offer you? Not only for customers, but also partners and Siemens employees. Pretty much the whole ecosystem related to Mendix and Siemens. And then some live questions and answers. All right, so let's take a quick step back here and give a quick overview of TimeSeries. Matt, would you mind giving a brief introduction of TimeSeries?
Sure thing. So TimeSeries is an organization. We got our start about 8 years ago, focused on solving really a data and analytics gap that existed in the energy utility marketplace, involving large volumes of time series data from smart meters. And there you have it, the foundation of our company name, TimeSeries, in that time series data problem and its resolution. So we developed a solution to mitigate that issue. And although that solution was very successful in the marketplace, what we found is that our customer base really wanted more, specifically how they could take that data and the resulting analytics and really use it to inform their businesses, their end users, as well as to allow that information then to be acted upon. So really, we went back to the market to look for means to do that, to enable that, informing and acting side of things. And well, what we found is that there's really no better platform available then or now in Mendix. And so we started to extend our own solution via the platform and began to build a practice around that, in that, the success of extending the functionality of our own solution set, made sense that there was a market in that space for us to engage in. So, since that time, we've been working in the Mendix ecosystem. We have become a global solution partner for Mendix, as well as Vince just mentioned, with Siemens itself, and have successfully positioned ourselves as that #1 partner. That position was really driven by our intense focus on, delivering high quality services, and that has been steeped in our unrivaled internal training program. We really focus on enabling our own teams to be experts within this space. And as Jethro had mentioned, we've grown significantly over the past couple of years, and that has allowed us to accumulate over 250 years of Mendix experience, which is really sort of unrivaled. Across the organization, we do have 7 offices, in North America and in Western Europe. Our most recent addition was Germany last year. And to that, we've also positioned ourselves with 4 Mendix MVPs. Now, these are folks that are sort of beyond the expert space. They're above category, if you will. And they get, involved within the actual roadmap of the Mendix platform. Over that time, we've, been able to engage with, over 100 enterprise customers, delivering hundreds of applications across various industries. And if I could take a moment to brag a bit, our North American operation recently had 9 of our existing consultants achieve their Mendix advanced certification, which is a wonderful achievement for our team and ultimately for our customer base and the market itself. So let's have a closer look at really what we offer in the market. As I said before, our expertise is really first class, not only in the design and building of applications, but also in what you can call sort of the soft side of the platform. And what I mean by that is the expertise to really advise our customers on how to implement the Mendix platform across their enterprise. And that's through governance, programmatics, and enablement type services. And all together, the development together with that governance side of things, that is really our TimeSeries Center of Excellence. And in addition to that, taking us back to our company roots, we've developed a suite of smart apps. And these are Mendix applications that we've combined with other advanced technologies that are really focused on accelerating specific use cases like automated planning, predictive maintenance, smart warehousing, and other areas for our customer base. Now, these smart apps are not sort of like standalone products, but what they really serve is as acceleration modules or templates. And that really allows for our customers and companies to engage more quickly and cost effectively to solve these business challenges that they're experiencing. So you really get the speed and ease of an off-the-shelf solution with the flexibility and the agility of a custom solution. Now, together, the TimeSeries Center of Excellence, our Smart App Suite, this really creates opportunities for our customers to access our innovative Mendix expertise and to get results very quickly. And you can see here is, we practice in quite a broad set of industry verticals. We've delivered, these templates and our Mendix development services in the oil and gas space, our work with ConocoPhillips and Phillips 66, for example, in the energy sphere with Engie and Eon, manufacturing with companies like DSM, which we support both in Europe and in North America, and Hydro in a very similar fashion. And then we also touch a number of other areas, healthcare, life sciences, the med spaces, insurance, finance, and that type of thing.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. And just to highlight, it's really across a multitude of industries. Okay, thanks for providing that background of TimeSeries. Jeff, it's been a great chapter so far to work with you, and not only sharing the power of Mendix within Siemens, but also hands-on proving this with customers and Siemens partners. We definitely share the excitement and ambition to take this to the next level. But let's take a step back. Why does Mendix exist, and what problems does it actually solve?
No, thanks, Vince. And that's a great question. We've at Siemens, we've made a lot of acquisitions over the years, oftentimes very, very complementary technologies. I think one of the things I know for me personally that's been so exciting about being part of the Mendix family now is the ability to impact value all across our portfolio to all our customers, as well as customers across all industries. Really, there's a tremendous amount of potential there. I think, how we've seen the world evolving, regardless of what industry you work in, if you make products are becoming more complex. If you work with a business process, whether you're trying to work internally within your company, business to business, or even trying to reach out to your end customers, the complexity of those has been increasing dramatically over the last several decades. Near term, I think what we've really seen then is more of an increasing of the rate of change, right? So you've got this increasing complexity regardless of what you're doing, but now the pace in which you're being asked to change is moving faster than the systems, right? The ERP systems, CRM systems, technology. It's moving faster than it can really adapt. And that is putting a tremendous amount of pressure on business to meet the needs of their internal and external customers, which therefore puts pressure on IT to be able to help meet the needs of business. And this is one of the fundamental reasons why Mendix was actually created as a company, to be able to take the gap between business and IT and be able to pull those users together into one environment to be able to solve problems, be able to solve them a lot faster. What does that mean? Kind of talked about a little bit of that there. It's about collaboration. How do we take business users, stakeholders, the experts in their design who know what applications need to do? They understand the logic, they understand the data, but they're not used to writing applications. On the flip side, you have IT. IT understands how to write applications, how to work with code, but they don't necessarily always understand the requirements that business needs, that business outcome they're trying to affect. And that rework, that churn can lead to a lot of project failure. So within the Mendix way, number one is to really facilitate just tons and tons of collaboration between business and IT, to have a common development environment, one single platform for business users as well as technical users to work together, unleash those domain experts but keep IT part of the process, and perhaps most importantly, make sure IT can maintain governance over data security, data privacy, application architecture, corporate standards, performance, et cetera, to do that inside of one environment. Part of collaboration is the technology. Another part are things like agile development, right? We want to be able to work in a very nimble, lightweight way. The platform helps facilitate that. If I want to automate some of my processes to make sure my applications are high performance, have good quality, again, we can do that in a collaborative manner between the two. Even pushing the collaboration out beyond your own environment to the Mendix community, where hundreds of thousands of people globally are sharing ideas, sharing information, really try to foster that community investment to be able to really utilize low-code and get the most out of the Mendix platform they can. The ability to create apps 10 times faster, that's the real deal. 10 times faster, 70% less reduction in resources. That speed comes from a lot of different ways, right? It's about model-driven design. It's about being able to have an immense amount of reuse within an application. So if I'm somebody who's not a developer, I can go in and I can reuse widgets and reuse templates and reuse connectors, things that have already been created, to pull it into a very visual environment, do a lot of drag and drop, configure my application, collaborate with IT, move extremely quickly. And again, that speed is so critical because business now is moving faster than most people can really adopt. So the ability to go and prove out an idea or roll an app into production in a scale of days and weeks, not necessarily months to years, which oftentimes people are used to seeing, has a tremendous amount of business value. And that speed really translates not just into time, but think if you could roll a good idea into production 10 times faster, that means you're realizing the benefits 10 times faster. Yeah. That means that that team who is working on that can now start to work on the next application, the next innovative idea, and start to realize the benefits of that idea 10 times faster. So really we get this add-on effect of app development where we're not just looking at it and saying, hey, I've got one problem I want to solve, but Mendix is now a strategic platform that we can use to drive our innovation all throughout the organization. Yeah. So tremendous amount between the collaboration, the speed, but what that translates into end business value.
Yeah, so Vince? For that overview, and you bring up a good point, right? It's speed, it's fast, but also in the right direction, right? How many times have we seen speed going into the wrong direction, which is actually causing more problems than what we started with? So that initial business and IT collaboration, where you sit very close and involve the business throughout your application lifecycle, combined with that methodology and underlying platform, that is really going fast in the right direction. Okay, if we make this a little bit more concrete, and Yetro, let's get you involved as well. This all sounds very promising, but let's make it more concrete. What can you actually build with a platform like Mendix? And Yetro, I think you're still...
Yeah, here I am. Yeah. No, it's very broad. What we focus on mostly is workflow-driven application. So not only giving somebody a bit of insight in information or one or two screens, but more applications which fully automate complete business processes and which really help companies to be more efficient and use their physical assets and their resources in a more in a smarter way. And we do this by not only building applications which you use on your laptop, for example, or your desktop, but we also take it out to the field. So like you see here, field service application, where we try to give people in the field who are, for example, maintaining windmills, we give them relevant information. The app is context aware. They know where you are. They know which windmills you are responsible for, and they can give you information for your daily tasks. And all of this can even be made offline. So we can really go to an omni-channel approach where we say we can make the information available anytime, anywhere, and on any device, even without connectivity, while we still leave all the core backend systems our customers have intact. So integrations with ERP, with CRM, so for example, with SAP or with Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics, We often integrate with those, unlock the information out of these data silos, and then we bring them with Mendix to mobile devices, to tablets, to really allow people to focus on their daily tasks instead of letting them focus on working with complex backend systems.
Yeah, yeah. Well, very helpful. So custom applications that are workflow driven, that then often sit on top of multiple underlying data sources, and that have a need for a rich UI UX in a multi-channel environment, which includes offline mobile, right? A hot topic, of course, which the Mendix platform can solve. Okay, so if we tie this back to Siemens, right? Many of the people today attending already deal with existing Siemens solutions like Teamcenter, MindSphere, Polarian. Do you have a few examples of how Mendix can be applied, for instance, with Teamcenter?
Yes, what we do is we often position Mendix on top of these systems, so on top of SAP or on top of Siemens Teamcenter. And what we do is we get the information out of it. We try to combine information from these various data sources, and then we can fully automate these business processes and make more advanced workflows. An example which we discuss later is about unlocking and combining data from SAP together with Teamcenter to facilitate the process of parts replacements in a windmill, where we focus on really making this information augmented with data from other systems. So it's much more valuable, much more rich than only looking at it from a single data silo perspective.
Yeah. And last webinar, we actually provided a demo, right, with a bill of materials, synchronization, and integration with Teamcenter and SAP. So we won't show that today. It's on our website, though. It's a common problem for organizations using with those two systems. But I do believe you have another example in the next slide, right?
Yes, this is a similar thing where we try to look at this bill of materials, but we also want to tie the information back into 3D visualization. So it's not only about getting some raw data out of Teamcenter, it's also about visualizing it in a smart way. And then, as you can see there, for example, coloring component parts based on, for example, IoT data. So also MindSphere is, of course, part of this entire journey. It's not only about Teamcenter or SAP, it's also about connecting, for example, real-time IoT data through Siemens MindSphere, and then tying that back into the bill of materials information. So exactly this, it's a holistic approach of looking at the Siemens portfolio, like MindSphere and Teamcenter, and then combining all of the information and helping these customers to get the most out of all these different systems that they have.
Yeah, so let's zoom in a little bit on this. So there were a few questions already. Let's make it interactive. Related to OpCenter, right? A different product of Siemens, of course, a real system of record. How strong and how does Mendix integrate with these types of systems? And is it even possible?
Yes, that's a very good question. Integrations are key in the Mendix world, because Mendix itself, it's a toolbox to make these apps, but we fully realize that the information is already in these systems of records, in these backend systems. So Mendix comes with an entire tool suite of out-of-the-box connectivity. We call them connectors. So connectors to Salesforce, or connectors to Teamcenter, or to MindSphere, or to SAP. All of those are provided with the Mendix development platform out of the box. So if you ever have to connect to SAP, for example, you just download the Mendix SAP connector, you use it in your application, and all of these things, the boilerplate, which in the past cost you weeks to build, it is all already there. And if there is no connector yet, then they support many out of the industry standards, like all kinds of APIs, web services. So all those things are supported out of the box. So if the system that you want to connect to supports these open industry standards, connectivity is a matter of hours, no longer days or weeks. And that's really where Mendix shines.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, very helpful. I do want to be mindful of the time. Jeff, do you have any additions here, for instance, around Mendix on top of existing Siemens solutions like MindSphere or any others? What are your thoughts there from the Siemens perspective?
Yeah, no, I mean, one quick comment is, how important Mendix is to our overall strategy around not just connectivity, but around usability. So we have, great foundation solutions like Teamcenter for PLM, MindSphere for IoT data connectivity. But pulling Mendix on top of that now allows us to make that data usable, right? Much faster. I think a lot of times people will say that we have an our environment is, we're data rich, but we're information poor. And Mendix can help us take that data and turn it into information that is usable. The connectivity piece, Jethro was talking about, critical component, and that's why, as part of our strategy, developing connectors for our own solutions. So the number one comment that we always get if somebody has Teamcenter or if they have MindSphere or they're looking at MindSphere, they say, how easy is it to do the connectivity between Mendix and those solutions? And the answer is, go to the Mendix App Store, do a search on MindSphere, do a search on Teamcenter. The connectors are already there. You can just drag and drop them into your application model. So really trying to simplify the whole environment to really focus on business outcomes.
Yep, exactly. And on our end, on the TimeSeries end, we're really closely involved on the R&D side and the solution side as well. So even if the out-of-the-box connector doesn't work, the platform is very open. You just got to have the knowledge to really use the platform in the right way, which is a key component. All right, so in the interest of time, we're halfway, and your input has been very valuable so far. The question that I've always got after 11, 12 years Mendix, in particular around partners, but also end customers, where do you start, right? It's such a powerful but a very broad platform. So how do we actually start? So the concept that TimeSeries came up with is really a smart app suite. Think about it as templates that allow you to very rapidly, in a specific business domain, to very quickly launch that initiative, customize it, tailor it on top of your existing systems, change some of the workflows, the UI, and really see an ROI within a couple of months and have the application live in a couple of weeks. Jethro, can you walk us through your ideas around the different smart app suites? What is already out there? What is TimeSeries working on? And perhaps a few examples as well in more detail.
Yeah, for sure. Our vision is that it's all about speed. It's about your go-to-market and also about agility once you're there. So how can you quickly adapt to changing market situations? So what we did is we are active in many different verticals. The verticals you see here are one of our main focus areas. Like Matt said, we're coming from the energy and utilities market. But for example, me personally, I'm very involved with marine in Germany and the Netherlands. And what we are seeing there is all of these industries, you have common problems. For example, in the energy world, it's about handling smart meter data, but in marine, it's about doing inspections. So here you see marine of energy utilities. So what you see is they have common problems, right? So what we did is with Mendix, we built template applications, and that's where we start if a customer has this common problem. So for example, what do I do with my smart meter as a utilities company? Well, we have our meter data management system. Built in Mendix on top of an IT platform, and what we then see is that we can really start to hit the ground running. We start with the template and we customize it to the needs of the customer, and in a matter of weeks you have a fully working system which you can then change and adapt over time. And as we see new trends hitting these verticals, we are adding more new templates for these specific verticals. So for marine, we do the same. We saw people struggling with the same type of problem every time at these shipyards. And we automate this away and gave them templates which address their needs. And if you go that way, in a customizable fashion, you can really quickly start to solve real business problems. Instead of only focusing on Mendix as a toolbox, you already give really finalized building blocks to quickly solve issues.
Yeah, and these templates and business domains per vertical are already available. More are coming, right? Jethro, you're leading that effort as well with your team. And this is really the bridge between what the market is looking for and what the Mendix platform ultimately is, right? So these templates really provide the speed, but also the flexibility to solve a specific business problem for a specific customer in a unique way. How often do we see that off-the-shelf solutions just can't be customized, but those customizations are critical for that specific business domain. This is really the best of both worlds scenario. For any of the customers and partners out there, these are directly usable. So please connect obviously with us if you have any questions around this. Let's make that more specific. Can we zoom in on, I see field services, and I believe you have another one as well, but can you talk a little bit further around field services and the template we have there?
Yes, well, field services, it's a big problem there is planning, right? If you have 100 or 500 or many field service engineers, which person will you send to which location to solve a particular issue, taking into account service level agreements, certifications, travel times, holidays, people are sick, all those kinds of things, their rosters. So we built an application with Mendix, which uses artificial intelligence to automatically create an optimal planning, dispatch this to the service engineers who are in the field. So on their mobile devices, they get their work instructions, they're being sent to the locations where they do their job. And once they manage to fix their ticket or their task, they automatically get assigned a new task. And the people who are managing these service desks or who are actually doing the planning, what they do now is they focus on our board and they see which person is where. And they only have to really take action if something goes really wrong, like there was a big incident. But usually they don't have to do a lot less work, and the system will do all the work for them. And this is a really cool case, I think, where we really make a business process a lot smarter.
Yeah, and obviously you can apply this in so many different areas, right? Around planning, in this case field services, but think about machinery, any other assets, and obviously people.
Yes.
Okay, great. How about the next one?
Yeah, this is where we really come from. This is about gathering information from, for example, smart meters, but it can also be gathering information from any other IoT device. For example, a crane for Mammoet, one of our customers, or from elevators for what we do for Mitsubishi. And it's about gathering all this IoT data and turning this data into information. So indeed, data-rich information poor. I like that. Well, we try to turn it around. Mendix will show you all the relevant information, which may be comprised of many different data sources and data points underneath. And we draw the attention of the human user towards where he or she can make a real difference instead of being swamped with all of this different information. So this is about dashboarding, real-time insight into your physical assets in the field.
Yeah, and I think the key here is indeed to turn your data into actionable insight, right? Getting the data, for instance, with a MindSphere, and then connecting it into these dashboards and have Mendix as that app on top of it is one part. But what are you going to do with that data, with that insight, right? So that's where workflows and task management, for instance, field services, right, and planning comes really into play. It opens a whole new level of applications and business value in terms of operational efficiency. So yeah, great. In the interest of time, let's skip the next template. There are about 18 templates right now. Obviously, we're rapidly building the other templates as well as customizing it per vertical. So please check our website on a regular basis. And if you have any ideas also for the partners out there, let's collaborate. There's a lot of value there for customers in specific industries to start using Mendix. And the best, easiest way is to start with a template that's already proven. Okay, thank you, Yetro, for that specific overview. Let's move on to probably what the majority of the people are waiting for. That are a couple of demos. Yetro, I believe you have two demos. The first one is really a custom offline inspection app. I believe in particular for shipbuilding inclination tests, but obviously you can apply this much broader. So I'll hand the screen to you. The other one is predictive maintenance, which is applicable to any manufacturer and any asset management organization as well. So two hot topics. Let me turn it over to you so we can actually dive straight into it.
Yeah, I will take over the screen. Here we go.
And I see that pretty much everybody is still attending, which is great to see, guys. And I can tell that the interest is absolutely there. I can also tell a lot of people are still searching a little bit. Where do I start? So please also with those types of questions, just connect with Jeff or myself or TimeSeries team, and let's go over the menu in more detail and see what's directly applicable to you. Jethro, it's all yours.
Yeah, you guys see my screen, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, what you're about to see, the first one is a demo video. The second one will be a live demo. What you're about to see is an application. I will start it already. It's an application which our customer uses in offline mode on a tablet. And the idea here is that when you build a ship in your shipyard, you have to do certain tests, right? You have to do certain inspections during the build cycle of this ship. However, inside of these big, massive metal shells, they often or usually don't have internet connectivity. So many processes are still done on paper. And when the inspection officer goes back to his office, he has to type everything in Excel or whatever other system or Teamcenter. And then, it turns out he has forgotten something, or he had to do a follow-up task, and he walks back to the yard. So a lot of paper processes going on. We've built an application which works fully offline. It allows you to select a ship on which you're going to work. It will show you the general arrangement plan, like you see here, all offline. And when you click on it, you actually get the map you see on the left side, and you can indicate where you are, because many of the tasks you do on board, but this is no different on your shop floor or on your construction site. Many of the tasks you do, they are of course context dependent on where you physically are. So in this particular example, you have to go to a certain room or a lounge or a deck. You click it, and then you have to do a certain task. In this example, it's about inspecting if all the weights are in the proper places. Otherwise, you cannot do an inclination test for your ship. But you can apply the same principle to checking if all the furniture has arrived, or checking if all the paint jobs are done properly, or checking all the pipe spools and to see if they leak. So you click where you are. On the right side, it automatically knows which room that is, because you have a coordinate system. You do your task. In this case, you see that there is a weight missing or misplaced. You can also add pictures here to what you see, all still offline with your tablet. And so you can walk through the entire ship. You do all your work, all your inspection work, for example. And when you're done, you can get the results in a report, as you see here on the top. So in this particular example, we calculate the center point of gravity automatically. So we know if the ship is leveled when we start to do inclination testing. But the idea here is that you are on your physical location, you don't have connectivity, still you can do all your tasks, including taking pictures or using Bluetooth to connect to, for example, a paint thickness scanner. All those kinds of utilities are still there with Mendix, even in an offline mode. So you can really work in a smart way. And once you go back online, all of the data is automatically synced back to the Mendix cloud or to Teamcenter or to SAP. So you do not lose any information, you just work in a much smarter way. And using this, we have reduced this particular inspection process from 2 weeks to just a couple of hours. That's how efficient it is.
Very
so this is the demo of the inspection application. If I switch to my second demo, which I want to do ideally in full screen mode.
Yeah, and before you do that, Jethro, in terms of the demo you just showed, right? I mean, obviously that's in particular for shipbuilders and shipbuilding, but there is a broader set of features in such an application that you can apply across multiple industries. What are some of those features that we've worked on, put in a template, and how can that be applied across the different verticals?
Well, I can give you a second example of this particular situation is that for Enexis, a big grid operator in the Netherlands, so they own the entire power grid in the southern part of the country. They have to maintain many physical assets in the field where the cables come together in certain places in municipalities, for example. You have to go there and do all kinds of inspections. Well, in the southern part, they do not always have connectivity. So we preload the application for these field service engineers with these are the locations which you need to inspect. And then they go there, they take a picture of what they see. They have to fill in a certain inquiry, and this inquiry is even configurable. And if you give, for example, the answer yes to a certain question, you get follow-up questions, right? So you really are sure that the field engineer doesn't make any mistakes, he doesn't skip anything, and he also gets schemas or work instructions on this is how the asset works. These are the components. You have to touch this button or connect these two wires to do a certain test. So we have a fully guided inspection mode in offline. where you use Mendix as the main tool. So offline is a really big capability. The other thing is the coordinate system. So if you have a map, two-dimensional map of your shop floor or your ship or your construction site where you're building a hospital or a university, you always have these questions about where am I and what do I need to do? Well, we have this map built in offline mode with this custom coordinate system to really have a smart way of doing this identification of where you are and what you need to do there.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously these are all manufacturing type of applications. And if you look at the different verticals and the customer base of Siemens, yeah, those are in the end all manufacturers. Great. So what are you going to show with this particular demo, Jetro?
Yeah, this is the second one, the live one, always the most exciting one, right? What we are going to see here, it's actually based on real data. It's how we do predictive maintenance with Mendix using IoT sensors. So we have a customer who is selling IoT devices which you can connect to your elevator, and then you get to see how the elevator behaves. So how many times did the doors open and close? On which floor did it happen? How much the rides up or down did the elevator do? And you're gathering all that IoT data, which is of course amounting to a lot. Here in the demo, you only see like 10 elevators, but in real life, these are tens of thousands of elevators. So we are gathering all of that in a scalable IoT platform. And then with Mendix on top of it, what we do is we make all of this information visible, and we allow the company to say, you need to go to this elevator and you need to maintain it. So here you see a few of these elevators on a map. And when we click it, you right away see how many days there are still left before you need to do your maintenance. Some do have maintenance needs sooner, for example, this one. You see, for example, here when the last maintenance was done and when we predict a new maintenance job is needed. And we do this based on the IoT data. So this is real life data. In the Netherlands right now, it's almost 6 o'clock. And I think this elevator is in maybe an office building or something, so it's not used anymore the last hour. But here you see the data of today, so how many rides the elevator did. And using that data, we predict when the elevator is in need of a new maintenance job. We can also right away tell the customer what would be the best time to do this maintenance based on the minimal amount of traffic throughout the day. So for example, here apparently between 12 and 1 is usually a fairly quiet time. So let's plan the maintenance around that time slot. What we can also do is we can zoom in and out of in time. So this is the data of what's the data of today, but you can also zoom back and see what's the data per day of the week or per year. And as you can see, it's fairly smart. Even though we see here we are already gathering 16,000 data points, it's still fairly fast in getting this data. So that's an example of how we do predictive maintenance. Maybe this one is more exciting because this has much more recent data. This one is actually even live of today. It had rides a few hours ago. So using this type of system, you really use all of this valuable information to show to users without swamping them with too much data. That's the point. And of course, you can also integrate all kinds of things like 3D visualizations. Here again, this is just a pump, just as an example to show what you can do with Mendix and 3D models, because we don't have proprietary 3D images of elevators. But if you have those, you can tie the IoT data back into these individual component parts to see which part is, for example, degrading the fastest, which one do you need to solve. You can use this to also maximize the lifespan of your components, or you can say, well, my supplier says it's only this for a particular cable is only to be used like 50,000 rides, but we see based on our IoT data it breaks sooner, or it can be used much longer. So you can have all of those kinds of meaningful discussions in a data-driven manner, even on a component level.
Yeah, and the common theme, right, of all these types of applications are unlocking your backend data, right? Whether these are systems like SAP, Microsoft, Teamcenter, OpCenter, Salesforce, really tying that all together, doing something with that data in terms of workflows, making it interactive, so more transactional. And now the cool part, of course, is that sensors are placed more and more on machinery and assets. So that's just another data source via MindSphere we can actually pull into the Mendix application and provide these insights, and then do predictive maintenance as an example. So great overview and an example of a concrete use case. Anything else you want to show us, Jethro? Shall we move on?
We can move on. I suggest you take the screen and go to the next slides.
Okay, great. Okay, so we are nearing the end of this webinar, so definitely add your questions into the actual chat box. In terms of what we've seen, you've got some introductions around TimeSeries, Mendix, which is now part of Siemens. You've learned more about the problems we solve and how it actually relates to existing Siemens solutions like Teamcenter and MindSphere. And lastly, you've learned about custom application development, pretty much like a wide range of areas where Mendix can be applied, as well as the quick starts, the menu that we offer specifically to customers in verticals and industries as a quick start to prove this out, also known as that Smart App Suite and the templates. Matt, if we just wrap this up from a TimeSeries perspective, what do we offer not only to Siemens, but also to Siemens ecosystem, the partners, and then of course the most important part, what do we offer end customers that want to do something with this awesome technology?
Yeah, thanks. So, a few areas really sort of present themselves, and we've organized them here. So obviously our expert Mendix development services, right? So both in that solution design, application development, and delivery. But what we've done is we've organized really a point of entry. So and it's our Mendix pilot package, right? And that package is set up to give a really quick go of the Mendix platform and actually delivering an application for a business. And it's inclusive of like a guided design session. So we spend some time at the architecture level, truly understanding the need of the application and what it's expected to deliver for the end users, and then actually do delivery of that pilot package. So we've got that sort of set up, a quick way to get started. That approach has proven actually really quite successful with our customer base. In particular, Clark Construction has seen a lot of success utilizing that approach. It's enabled them to extend, Mendix across their enterprise. And then from our Mendix Center of Excellence side of things, of course, we have 250 years of accumulated Mendix experience. So we can bring that to bear, as well as with our own customers' internal resources, right? And we do that in a couple of different ways. So enablement is one way that our customer base has been able to really extend their capabilities with the Mendix platform. And we do that providing training and workshop that enable our customers' internal resources to improve their skill set and really accelerate that Mendix adoption across the enterprise. And then, of course, there's the reusability piece of the Mendix components. Jeff touched on this earlier. So, it really enables, that you're not duplicating work, but you're taking advantage of what's been built across the enterprise. And that really creates a critical level of success. And then the governance services really provide a foundation for enabling that sharing without losing control of the program itself. And then lastly, we've developed out of the Siemens initiative, our own partner-to-partner program. It's a framework for the Siemens partner network to really, leverage our Mendix expertise within their perspective or their current customer base. And of course, if anyone is interested in learning more about that partner-to-partner program, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to provide more information on that.
Yeah, great, Matt. It makes it very concrete. There was already one question around certifications and training and enablement. So let's just tackle that directly now. What type of certifications are there on Mendix end? And also, what's the role of TimeSeries, right? Obviously, I've seen and experienced it myself that the fastest way to build successful internal Mendix capability is to have juniors, people that are not familiar with Mendix, work hand in hand with people that are experienced, right? That's the quickest way to ramp up your own team. What are some of the formal certifications, and how can we help, Matt?
Yeah, sure thing. So Mendix offers really sort of 3 levels, and I'm leaving one out there, which is the MVP at the end. But there's the rapid, the advanced, and then the expert certifications. So the rapid certification is really self-guided, right? And Mendix provides that academy via their website, videos, click-through instruction, and that kind of thing to really give a high-level general introduction to the platform and its capabilities. The next one is the advanced certification, which is a bit more complex. And it's actually a proctored exam, if you will, or an assessment that then gets reviewed by Mendix itself. So it's a set of user stories that need to be delivered. They're providing feedback during the assessment itself, and that needs to be addressed in a timely fashion. And of course, it's time bound. So there is that side of thing, and then there's the expert side. And the expert side really, you have to have a number of applications delivered to your customer base, and that's like ground up applications. So things that you were involved in from design through build and delivery, and they take that into consideration together with referrals from that customer base and your capabilities and expertise. So how TimeSeries really supports that is we've developed our own internal training program, as I mentioned before, and it's rather robust. And we do that for obvious reasons. We want to be the best at what we do here, and in the marketplace. And we spend anywhere from 60 to 90 days training our own internal people before we even turn them loose to the marketplace. So we understand that our customer base can't devote or dedicate that amount of time. So we've been able to condense some of that training material into 1 or 2 week type training sessions where they're classroom type settings. Our instructors are delivering the content, and then the actual consumers of that are actually building applications, which is really key, right? So they're actually building something in Mendix and they're delivering that. And then that enablement program, after the 1 to 2 weeks, we then actually grow right into a co-delivery model. So as Vince was saying, you've got people that are just learning, or juniors that are just learning the Mendix system, are then working side by side with one of our experts. And that really enables them to pick this up very, very quickly.
Yeah. Okay, very helpful. And hopefully this provides more background around the services as well. Obviously, it's a true enterprise platform, so it definitely takes a little bit of time and experience, right? So combining resources is absolutely the way to go, not only for end customers, but also for partners to become really valuable. Okay, so let's go to the questions and answers. Obviously, TimeSeries, we're here and committed to support you through the Mendix and Smart App journey by sharing our experiences. We actually have also lined up a set of webinars that are more specific towards domains. This is all on our website. The link is here. We will share the slides as well. Next week, we jump into marine and the Smart App Suite for the marine industry. The week after, we'll go over the Smart App Suite for medical device industry. We've got a particular one focused on predictive maintenance. Energy utilities, logistics, construction, engineering, and manufacturing are actually following. So these are really focused on organizations and partners in that industry with specific demos and specific templates that we will show you. So please have a look and sign up accordingly. All right, so I do believe that there were several questions coming in, including one, and Yetro, that's probably one that you can answer, in terms of deployment and where can Mendix applications actually be deployed?
I saw the question already.
Yeah,
it's a good question. It's asked a lot, and what you see is that The default operation of Mendix has always been to deploy to the Mendix cloud. However, the last, let's say, few years, they added many options to that. You can also deploy in SAP cloud, for example. For any SAP people in the call or SAP users, Mendix and SAP roadmaps are fully aligned. The R&D teams work together, and you see this in the level of connectivity they have, but also in terms of deployment. We have customers such as Mammoet who deploy Mendix on the SAP cloud, where it is really easy to fully integrate with your SAP systems. But you can also deploy on-prem, even in your own physical hardware. We have a case in the US, I think, Vince, in Dallas, where we deploy Mendix applications in a factory, physically in the factory, where we connect Mendix to certain types of machines which are being used there to produce aluminium parts. So even that you can do. So you can really deploy actually anywhere you want. There are default build packs and images, for example, Azure Cloud. So there are Docker containers, there's Kubernetes support. So there are really many options out there. And I think this is one of the things where Mendix actually last years really shines at. So this is that there are many options.
Yeah, great. And I want to highlight, right, that there are many no-code, so not to confuse with low-code, which is Mendix platforms out there, but those are fairly lightweight applications. What Mendix is, it's really truly built for enterprises. That comes with an enterprise architecture, that comes with deployment models, to Jetro's point, in any cloud, as well as the standard Mendix clouds, which is AWS, but also hybrid as well as fully on-premise type of scenario. So obviously we're working with a lot of governmental organizations within the aerospace and automotive industry as well. So security is absolutely a strength, including the flexibility on the deployment side. Jeff, I have another question here that you can probably answer. In terms of licensing and pricing, any insight there? Obviously on the TimeSeries side, we're an official reseller, both on Mendix as well as with Siemens. But any insight there? Is it done per platform, per app, per user? How does that work?
Yeah, the pricing model is common, all across. So the primary driver is by the number of end application users. I think that's one of the kind of the unique things, right? The model is really based around how do we develop apps, right? It encourages development. So we try to not focus on complexity of apps, things like that. There's no license to be able to develop. We try to make it real easy to get going, get making, innovate, find out what works well. And then when you really put apps into production, you see the value of it. That's how we can license based upon that. If anybody has any specific configurations or questions or examples, they can contact us and we can help them work through it.
Yep, great. All right, well, in the interest of time, I really want to thank our speakers and wrap up this webinar, Make Your Business Smarter. So thank you, Jeff. As always, a pleasure having you and see you at the next event, I'm sure. Jetro, Matt, thank you for your time as well. And finally, of course, everybody here today, we had a big audience, which is great. We do want to ask you if you have any questions or ideas, please reach out, right? There are a lot of options and capabilities and opportunities here. We just got to bring the minds together and share that experience. We hope that this is valuable insight for you, and if you have any ideas, we will support you. I'm your host, Vincent Dillamar. Looking forward to seeing you during the next webinar, which takes place next week, and thank you for your time. Have a great day.